Hello, 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 hello. Welcome to my live. Today we're talking about the intellectual capital wealth transfer. If you are serious about learning the consulting industry, if you're serious about learning how to take your intellectual capital, your knowledge, your skills, your experience, your expertise, what you know, if you want to learn how to take that and turn that into wealth, then you need to watch this live. Okay, my name is Dr. Vanessa R. I'm a leadership scientist and consulting architect, and I help high performing professionals take their intellectual capital and transform that into premium consultancy boutiques. And today we have a lot of things to discuss, and I hope that you're going to be able to join us. If you are watching the live, please come in, say hello, tell me your name, tell me where you're watching from. If this is your first time watching, tell me that as well. I am in North Carolina today, where it's extremely hot. It is extremely hot. Tell me where you are watching from. And I'm going to get my phone here so that I can just kind of pay attention to who's in the live. And if you guys have any questions, you can pop those questions in the comments section, and I'll do my best to get to your questions. Let me go ahead and log into my TikTok account. There we go. All right, so I want to just start off by talking about what I mean when I say wealth transfer as it pertains to intellectual capital. Now, most of us, when we think about a wealth transfer, we're used to talking about it in terms of like real estate, stocks, bonds, investments, land, all of those things, inheritance, and all of that is still very, very relevant, okay? But I want to bring into this community, into this space, a conversation around wealth transfer that you may not be as familiar with. Now, as I told you guys, I'm a researcher, okay? I'm a leadership scientist. And so for me, helping you with your business, with your expert-based business, has to be about research and data, okay? I build businesses on research and data, okay? I don't build businesses on whatever is trending, okay? I spend a lot of time researching the data to help us build sustainable businesses. Somebody type in the chat, sustainable businesses, okay? We want your business to last. We don't want your business built on a trend. Okay, we don't want your business built on an algorithm. Oh my God, okay? I am not in the business of teaching you to become a content creator or an influencer. There's nothing wrong with that, but that is not what I do over here, okay? I am talking about you building a sustainable business, okay? And there is a wealth transfer that is happening right now according to the literature, okay? According to the research, okay? And so this is not about hustle culture, okay? This is not about hustle culture, all right? If hustle culture is your jam, I'm not mad about that, but that's not what I'm talking about over here, okay? I'm talking about a wealth transfer that is based on research and data. Now, I'm going to say this, and I might get in trouble. I kind of don't want to say it because it's controversial, but I'm going to say it anyway. Specifically in the internet spaces or the social media spaces, to be more specifically, especially around places like TikTok, I've seen a lot of conversation around what is and is not scams, what is and is not legitimate. I'm going to talk about this today because I want those of you who are experts to separate yourself from that conversation. Okay? All right? If you are a legitimate expert, you need to separate yourself from the conversation around what is and is not a scam. Okay? Because if you are a true expert, you are going to build an expert-based business, okay? And if you are building a business based on your expertise, you are not a scammer at all, okay? And the reason why people think that so many coaches and online gurus are scammers is because they are not building their business on their expertise. God have mercy. They have not identified what their expertise is. And I'm gonna go ahead and tell y'all right now, you might not like me, but it's okay. It's still gonna be the truth anyhow. If you want to avoid being lumped in the category as a coaching scammer, okay, you are going to have to get clear on what your intellectual capital is. You're going to have to develop intellectual property. Somebody that's not mad, type in the chat, intellectual property, okay? Because what has happened with AI, and I love AI, okay? I use AI responsibly, ethically, and integrally in my business, okay? AI can do a lot of things to take your business to the next level, okay? AI can do a lot of things to take your business to the next level. Don't get me wrong. I use it every single day. AI can do things for you in your business that you would have had to pay thousands and tens of thousands of dollars for even a year ago. So we're not mad about AI, but I do need you to understand something. What folks have to understand in the expert space, if you don't use AI correctly, you are going to be lumped in the category as a scammer, as a fraud. Okay, because what AI is able to do now, come on here, Dr. Michelle, leave the trends alone. They are looking like a trendy mess. I am clear but not dumb. Come on, somebody. Because what AI is doing is AI now has the ability to take what used to be considered proprietary expertise and commoditize it. So AI is stripping away your expertise. Okay, AI is stripping away your expert knowledge. And in 2 seconds, a person can take a prompt, load it into ChatGPT, load it into Claude, okay, or any other AI, and they can get the same information that you know, okay? And so what is happening is, I'm going to get in trouble here, y'all. Those people who are influencers or content creators, they are going to ChatGPT, they are putting in a prompt, and they're getting data. They're getting an output. They're able to then turn around and create a course to teach people what you already know. But you are in your head with your knowledge, and you have not taken the time to extract your intellectual capital to create for yourself proprietary intellectual property and methodologies and frameworks that you own. So now those folks who don't have your brilliance, who don't have your expertise, who don't have your credentials, who don't have your degree, who don't have your licensure, they now sound just like you. Somebody stole my entire course and sold it. I'm still in litigation with that. You see what I mean? So AI is making a lot of us experts also look like scams. AI is taking people who have never read a book and helping them create tens of thousands of dollars overnight. Okay, I'm in trouble. I'm in trouble, Dr. Michelle. But I'm going to say it again. There are folks on the internet who have not gone and taken one class, who have not opened up one single book, who have not written not one research paper, who have not done one dissertation. Hello, somebody. Okay? And they are multimillionaires because they've learned how to use the internet and AI to steal your expertise, to steal your years of lived experience, to steal your years of research, your years of intellectual intelligence, okay? And I'm not okay with that. I'm not okay with that. And so we've got to come out of the clouds. Somebody that's not mad at me, type in the chat. We got to come out of the clouds and we got to get our ish together. Okay? We got to get our ish together. Now, I specialize in helping experts transform their expertise into premium consultancy boutiques. I'm telling y'all what I know. I told you, I build businesses for my clients based on the research and the data. I don't build businesses based on trends, okay? I don't build businesses based on algorithms because trends can change overnight. Algorithms might like you today and hate you tomorrow, okay? The research is clear, okay? We are moving into the age of the expert. And I need y'all to trust that. But experts have to know how to take their expertise and package it the right way, systematize it the right way. You've got to learn how to create something that cannot be stolen, that cannot be plagiarized. So we're going to have to do what? We're going to have to go and get our IP legally taken care of, yes, but you're going to have to also be able to organize your intellectual capital in a way that nobody can look it up on the internet and find it and duplicate it. You're going to have to learn how to copyright your IP. You're going to have to learn how to protect your knowledge. Okay, you're going to have to learn how to systematize your knowledge in a way that it cannot be found on the internet, that nobody can take it and put it into ChatGPT and say, hey, make this over for me. That takes a skill that a lot of experts don't necessarily have. Dr. Michelle says, thank you. I'm tired of it. They are dumb as a box of rocks, but yet you are now a doctor. Yeah, come on, somebody. Okay. And I'm going to talk about it, y'all. And so we all know what has happened on the internet with a certain self-proclaimed doctor. But guess what? She's not the only one that's doing it. She is not the only one that is doing it. See, here's the problem. I'm going to talk about me because I know me. Okay? I'm going to talk about me because I know me. I am such a person of integrity and ethics when it comes down to my education, when it comes down to my business. I'm kind of in the clouds sometimes. Okay, I don't pay attention to what other folks are doing because I made the mistake. Can I tell my story? Can I tell my story? Somebody say, yes, tell your story, Dr. V. I made the mistake of assuming that everybody preferred ethics and integrity. Okay. Y'all gonna get mad at me. I made the mistake of assuming that customers preferred to spend their money with ethical business owners. So I wasn't paying attention. Hello, lights. You was waiting to hear from me? Here I am. I'm fired up today. Hello, lights. I made the mistake of assuming that customers wanted to do business with true experts and true people of authority and integrity. So I did not know who Dr. CB was until last year when she first went viral. Listen to me. Listen to me. And listen to me carefully. This is our opportunity to learn. Because we've been so focused on our expertise and our ethics that we didn't pay attention to what it takes to make the money. Somebody say the money. Somebody say the money. Okay, now watch this. You have got to market to the right customer and client. Oh God. Oh God. Okay, because that person, Miss B, we're going to just call it Miss B today. Okay, listen to me carefully. Miss B did not market to clients or customers who cared at all about doctoral integrity or ethics. She did not market to people who cared at all about licensure and mental health ethics. She marketed her services to folks, I'm in trouble now, who were in dire straits as it pertained to relationships. Okay. The folks that she markets to are dealing with broken hearts as it pertains to relationships. They don't care about licensure. Come on, somebody. So what I try to tell my clients to do, because they come to me and they just in a cloud, right? Listen, if you want to build a premium consultancy boutique that is reputable and profitable, somebody say reputable and profitable, you have got to know who you are marketing to. Dr. Michelle, talk to us, please, okay? For me, I run a consultancy boutique. What does that mean? I'm not looking to go viral. I'm not looking to have 100,000 followers. I don't care about TikTok's algorithm. I don't care about Facebook's algorithm. Why? Because I am speaking to professional, high-performing, credentialed experts who are ready to leave corporate, who are ready to leave their organizational career, take their own intellectual capital that they've been using to make corporations and organizations wealthy and build their own consultancy boutiques. Those folks respect research and data. Those folks respect intellectual property. I created a signature process to help experts do that. So I know exactly who I'm talking to. But y'all better hear me good. Everybody's not like me in these business streets. Okay? All right. Now, what the research is showing us is that there is a shift taking place in our economy. Somebody type in the comment section, a shift is taking place in our economy. You knew what she said was bullshit. Come on. Anybody who's got a legitimate education knew what she was saying was BS. Hello, somebody. Anybody who's ever gone through a doctoral process knew that what she was saying was BS. But hear me good. There's a lot of people who did not know that what she was saying was BS. And those are the folks that she is marketing to. In fact, she said in that video, in the interview, she said, I'm talking to the doc squad. She's not talking to you or I. But in her defense, that's what you got to do. If you are going to get your business up to par, if you're going to get your business up to par, you are going to have to pay attention to the market. And you're going to have to ask yourself, do I want to be an influencer? Because she's an influencer. Hello, she is an influencer. Do you want to build your business on being an influencer? Because if you do, this is not the platform for you. You might as well block me today. Okay? Because I don't have a model for how to build a business as an influencer. So you are going to have to decide, are you building your business based on being an influencer, or are you building your business based on being an expert? Because expert-based businesses are built differently. Okay? Now, the market says there's a shift taking place. Okay? We are in the knowledge economy for sure, but AI interrupted that in the last year. I was like, whatever, because you lying. All right. We are in the knowledge economy. Somebody type in the chat, knowledge economy. We are in the knowledge economy, and we have been for a while, but AI interrupted the consulting economy. AI interrupted the expert-based economy. AI interrupted it. And now we've got to get smart about what we're going to do with AI's interruption of our business model. Are y'all here with me still? Now, what the researcher has said, we're talking about what the research, we're talking about Harvard Business, Inc., Forbes, okay? The International, the World Intellectual Property Organization, WIHO. All these folks have said, we can absolutely create value and wealth from our intellectual capital, except for AI has commoditized information. What does that mean? AI has taken what used to be difficult to access and has now made it easier to access. So you cannot say something as simple as, I help organizations with leadership development. Because all a person would have to do is go to ChatGPT and say, hey, give me a business model so that I can help organizations with leadership development too. You can't say that anymore. You can't say, I do business coaching. You can't say that anymore. Why? Because AI can give people that same information in record time. And now you have a bunch of competitors in the market. What I teach my clients to do is extract your intellectual capital in a way that you don't have any competition with it. Okay, and there's a way to do that. All right. I need somebody to type in the chat. There is no competition when I extract my intellectual capital. There is no competition when I extract my intellectual capital, or what I call IC. Okay. When you know how to extract your knowledge the right way, when you know how to extract your years of experience the right way, when you learn how to extract your expertise the right way, when you learn how to extract your way of thinking, your problem solving, your methodology, your research, when you learn how to extract that the right way and turn that into a signature framework that solves very specific problems that nobody else can solve, you then have what I call an asset that is transferable into wealth. Organizations and premium clients are looking for intellectual property. They're not looking for a generic advice. They're not looking for generic strategies. They're looking for intellectual property that is owned by you. Does that make sense? That is owned by you, but that is also based in research. God, I'm trying to help somebody. Okay? Okay? I don't worry about any competition in the work that I do. Why? Because I have my own framework, the ICCO framework. I call her ECO for short. Intellectual Capital Consulting Offer Framework. Okay? I have a 5-step process to help you take your intellectual capital and turn that into a consulting ecosystem. Okay? I make sure that my clients are attracting premium clients, right? Converting premium clients, onboarding premium clients, and retaining premium clients. That's what I do. I build a ecosystem so that my clients can ensure that their client journey is high level. We make sure that my clients can automate the client journey, that my clients, their clients have learning management systems that they're able to access and get all of their information from. I build that stuff, y'all. I build infrastructure for my clients, for their clients to enjoy. Okay? And because my clients have all of this intellectual property, because my clients have a systematized way of finding clients, attracting clients, converting clients, onboarding clients, retaining clients, they have no competition either. And when you have that in place, you're able to then set premium prices onto your offer. Does that make sense, y'all? And when you do that, they'll never be able to call you a scammer. You can't call me a scammer. You can't lump me in a category with anybody else, right? Why? Because I've taken the time to organize my intellectual capital and turn that into a framework, a signature framework that I own, right? And I can prove through the research, I can prove through the data that my framework is proprietary, right? And that is what you're going to have to do. Because we saw how easy it is to just come on the internet and say whatever you want to say and convince folks to believe you. Thank you, Dr. Mystere. She said, I've watched you. You're the real deal. Thank you so much. Right? The only people who will ever challenge me, I'm going to get in trouble. I'm going to get in trouble, but I'm going to say it. The only folks who will ever challenge me are non-intellectual people, and I don't give a damn about them because they're not my target audience. Oh, okay. Did y'all hear what I just said? Did y'all hear what I just said? Here's the thing. You're supposed to do two things with your marketing. You're supposed to attract your ideal clients and repel those who are not. Lord have mercy. Hey, Goddess Infusion. Lord have mercy. Let me say it again. As a business owner, you're supposed to do two things in your marketing. You're supposed to attract the kind of folks that you want to work with, the kind of folks that you know you're called to serve, the kind of folks who have the ability to pay you for what you're worth. You're going to attract those folks, but guess what? You're going to also repel folks who are not your ideal client. People who are non-intellectual, who don't understand the value in research-based methodologies and frameworks, I want to repel those people. I want those folks to challenge me. Why? So that I can block those folks. Hello, somebody. Hello. Somebody talk back to me. What you cannot do is try to worry about marketing to everybody. Okay? If you don't know how to respect research, you'll never listen to me. You're going to scroll on by my content. I'm going to get in trouble. If you don't know how to read a research article, I can promise you I am not your person. If you don't respect science, if you don't respect research, if you don't respect data, if you don't respect scholarship, if you don't respect leadership theory, if you don't respect executive leadership, I can tell you right now, I'm not your person. But guess what? That's exactly how I want it. That's exactly how I want it. Okay? I want to help experts build consultancy boutiques. Nothing more, nothing less. I want to help Black women specifically, okay, close the racial and wealth gap with our expertise. Because Black women, I wrote a dissertation about mental health in the Black church, in the African American diaspora. And Black women and Black men, but Black women, that's who I'm called to serve, are experiencing depression rates at an alarmingly higher rate than any other people group. But we are the ones who don't go seek the treatment. We go to work and we have to cosplay, right? We go to work and we have to overperform, overextend ourselves, overfunction, okay? We have higher rates of sickness and disease. Come on, somebody. Come on, somebody. The stress is causing professional experts to kill themselves at alarmingly high rates, y'all. That is just the truth. The suicide ideation rate is increasing for Black women. Black women who are experts at that. Somebody talk back to me. I care about that. That's what I care about. That's what I care about. Okay? And so my job, my career, my goal in my business is to spend the time to look at the research and create processes and methodologies that can help you as a Black woman, as an expert, take your intellectual capital and build a sustainable consultancy boutique for yourself so that you can spend some of your time enjoying this life before it passes us all by. Is this making sense to anybody? Thank you for the gifts. I appreciate that. Right? That's what I want to do. That's what I want to do. So I build automated consulting boutiques for my customers, for my clients. I teach my clients to put their consultancy boutiques on automation. Okay? I build high-level learning management systems, consulting infrastructure for my clients so that my clients can offer their clients a client journey experience that is high value, right? Because too many of you are out here manually having to do stuff. Too many of you are in your head with all of your knowledge and you don't know how to take it and turn it into something that the right buyer will pay for. I want to change that for you. Okay. And yes, when that happened with Miss Bryant, with Cheyenne, she's making it harder for a lot of us who are indeed experts for sure. But I need you to stay focused on your ideal client. Somebody type in the chat, my ideal client, because your ideal client, if you get clear on who that is. See, here's the thing. The people that I'm called to serve, organizations and high performing professional women who are already making six figures, who are already successful in their business, who are already successful in corporate. I will never be in competition with Cheyenne Bryant. Why? Because me and her, we're not after the same client base at all. That's why I never heard of her until last year. She's not in my ecosystem. She's not on my radar at all. But because she went viral over the doctoral thing, that ended up in my news feed. Why? Because I create content around that type of stuff. I need you to hear me today. You don't have to worry about being in competition when you know what it is you do. Okay? My job is to help you create the type of frameworks where you don't have no competition. What I want to do is put you in the red ocean. Somebody type the red ocean. Somebody type the red ocean. Okay? Most of us are trying to swim in the blue ocean. You out here competing with everybody. And that's why you feel threatened when people like her show up. You don't need to be threatened, honey. You got to get yourself in the red ocean. And how do you do that? When you take your intellectual capital and you learn how to get it extracted out of your mind, organize it correctly, figure out how to take your intellectual capital, all right, and find problems in the marketplace that are expensive, that need solutions, and then build solutions off of your intellectual capital. Does that make sense? You build solutions off of your intellectual capital. That's what I teach my clients to do. That is what I teach my clients to do. My clients will build offers, consulting offers, where they can charge $5 or $10 or $15 or $20,000 for, because they've taken their intellectual capital and they've built proprietary systems that solve very specific, expensive problems. Okay. And when you build your business that way, you don't have to worry about trending topics knocking you off course, or you don't have to worry about competing with trends and algorithms and content creators and influencers, okay? Because high-level premium clients, they are not looking at how many followers you have. I'm trying to help two people. Premium clients are not looking at your follower count. When I went down to the Warren County Health Department and delivered a premium consulting training program for the entire organization, when I talked to the director, she did not ask me, how many followers do you have on TikTok? She did not pay me my premium consulting rate because I was a popular influencer on social media. When we met, we talked about my premium program. That's what we talked about. We talked about my human-centered model of leadership. We talked about my ability to build an original learning management system for her entire organization and put my training program inside of that learning management system, giving them private access to my training methodology. That is why she hired me, and that is why she paid me. Does that make sense, y'all? I'll talk about my client, Robin. She may be on here today. She usually gets on my live. Robin, who was a client of mine, who is also building her own consulting company, worked 37 years with the federal government. She's now retired in her mid-50s, and she is ready to build her own consulting company. She wants to go back into the federal government and do leadership training. Well, guess what? We went through the entire process of my ICCO framework, and we've now constructed for her her own intellectual property. She has her own signature framework for how she is going to help with leadership transition in federal government. There is no other methodology for that. She built it. She built it. Somebody say she built it. And now I'm in the process of phase 2 of her contract with me, and I'm building for her an original learning management system that she is going to put her training program inside of and give her clients access to. Okay, she paid me 5 figures, and she's about to pay me again another 5 figures for the learning management system. And not one time did she care how many followers I had. She listened to me. She listened to my content. Okay, she followed me. She paid attention to what I said. She looked at my services. We had conversations. Okay, she knew that I was an expert. She had seen my work before, and she hired me. And she did not care about whether I had 5,000 views or 500,000 views or 300,000 followers. She didn't care about that. She knew that I knew what I was talking about. Okay? And I'm teaching her to be the exact same way in her consulting business. That is what you're going to have to focus on in this intellectual capital wealth transfer. Okay? Because the folks who are in charge of writing the check that's going to pay you your contract, your premium fee, those folks are looking to see if you are indeed an expert. Not just because you have a doctoral degree, not just because you have a bachelor's degree, but because you have created a proprietary system, a methodology that you can walk them through that explains exactly how you're going to get the result that they are in need of. Because why would they pay you $15,000 if they can go to ChatGPT and get the same advice for free? They wouldn't do that. They wouldn't do that. But if you can show them that you have something based on research, if you can show them that you have a signature process that will indeed get them the result they want, they will pay you. Okay? Because I can show people that I know how to help them build a consultancy boutique. Because I can show people that I know how to build the right systems that will attract and convert and onboard and retain their premium clients. They trust me to help them do it. Does that make sense, y'all? And that is what I want for you. We are in the intellectual capital wealth transfer era in this knowledge economy. Okay? It makes sense to you? I'm so glad it does. Okay? So I just need you all to start thinking about, okay, what is my intellectual capital? What is my expertise? What years of experience do I have? Y'all can put it in the comments section. Start answering these questions. What is my expertise? What is it that I've been doing for the last 5 or 10 or 15 or 20 years? How do I solve problems in a way that may be different to somebody else? You just haven't thought about it because it's in your unconscious competence. You've been doing it for so long that you've taken your intellectual capital for granted. Government contracting. You've been doing so much more than government contracting. But that's a good place to start. Because the question is, how do I take government contracting and solve specific problems with that? Who do I want to help with my government contracting expertise? You see, those are the kind of questions you got to start asking. Who are the companies, the organizations, or the private consumers right now who are struggling with a problem that they're willing to pay me to solve? Those are the questions that you got to start asking yourself right now. How do I take my years in government contracting and identify some specific problems that organizations or private consumers are having who have the resources to pay me to solve for them. God help me today. Artemis says, I want to help construction companies with safety compliance and federal construction dollars. There you go. So now you have a specific problem that you want to solve. And your next step is to extract your intellectual capital and create a signature framework, a signature process, a signature methodology to solve that specific problem. Does that make sense? Now, I'm hosting a class this Thursday night, small room of people. If you want to come to that master class, it's an executive debrief, right? It's an executive debrief. I'm going to walk my clients through that process Thursday night. It's $47. If y'all want to come, you can. If not, go be great. All I know is what the research tells us is that consultancies that have specializations, consultancies that have a niche, are the ones that are going to be able to charge premium consulting fees and get paid for them. That's what the research says. That's what the research says. And what I love about consultancy boutiques, because we're not trying to have 20,000 clients, because we're not wasting a lot of energy trying to sell a $20 product, we can take our energy. Listen to me, y'all. This is probably the most powerful thing I'm going to say before I leave. You can take your energy and you can focus that energy on giving all of your attention to premium buyers. You see, because I run a consultancy boutique, I only work with a small number of clients every single year. And because of that, I can spend so much time catering to my clients. And because I spend so much time catering to my clients, guess what? They become repeat clients. You can build a wealthy consultancy boutique with repeat clients. And if you stop trying to chase down 1,000 clients, and if you stop worrying about trying to go viral, and you hone in on your specialization, your specialized niche, you can give far more attention to the folks who actually are looking for somebody like you to solve their problem. Does that make sense, y'all? Does that make sense, y'all? Somebody say yes, yes. Okay? That is how I am able to maintain a premium consultancy boutique. That is how I'm able to maintain attracting premium clients. I'm going to get in trouble, but I'm going to say it anyway. I'm going to get in trouble, but I'm going to say it anyway. And I'm saying this from a business perspective. People who prefer cheap should be irritated and annoyed with you. I'm gonna say it again. I'm gonna see who stay in the room after this. I'm gonna see who stay in the room after this. People who prefer cheap should be irritated and annoyed with your brand. And when I say cheap, see, this is the thing, y'all. I'm going to get in trouble. When I talk about cheap, when I talk about premium, see, I'm not talking about being on here trying to showcase your outfit that you got on and out here bragging about what kind of car you drive. Those kind of people turn me off. Okay? When I'm talking about cheap, I'm talking about your services. I'm talking about your services. If you want cheap services, I'm not your girl. When I talk about pricing, I'm not talking about how much you paid for your hair, how much you paid for your car, how much you paid for your outfit, how much. No, these nails came from Temu, child. Somebody say Temu. These nails came from Temu, child. When I talk about premium, when I talk about spending money in business, I'm talking about your services. I provide premium, high-end services to my clients. And if you don't want premium, high-end services, then I hope that I annoy you to the point that you unfollow me. If you don't want premium consultancy, I hope that you get off my live. If you don't want high-end consultancy, please block me. I'm okay with that because I am going to provide white glove, concierge, premium services to my clients. I am not going to give them junk. And so because of that, I can charge what I charge with no guilt. Because I know that I have spent hours upon hours in deep dived research to bring out the best evidence-based methodologies to help my clients build solid, profitable, sustainable consultancy boutiques. So I don't have no guilt about what I charge. And if you provide premium consulting services to your clients, then you won't have any guilt either. The only reason why you struggle to attract premium clients, the only reason why you struggle to charge premium rates is because you are not providing premium services and you don't believe in the value of who you are and what it is you do. Somebody say yes, yes. That's the only reason why. It's those two reasons. One, because you are not providing premium services, and two, you don't believe that you're worth the value that you're trying to charge for. You got to get over that. Once you get over those two things, you will have no trouble attracting premium clients into your business. Does that make sense, y'all? If you out here in these streets and you've confused being a premium consulting boutique for being a content creator, you're going to always find yourself in a war on social media. Now, I don't know about y'all. I probably shouldn't get into this, y'all. Y'all tap that screen and share my live, okay? Y'all, should I say this? Do I want to get into this? I watched the Age of Disclosure conversation with a popular content creator, and she went left with her conversation, and they came and dragged her across this internet. And I wanted to reach out to her so many times, but you know why I didn't reach out to her? I'm gonna get in trouble. The truth stings sometimes, y'all. Because what I understood was, I don't think she quite understands the difference between being a content creator and a premium consultant brand, a premium expert-based brand. Listen to me. You got to know the difference between being a content creator, an influencer, and a premium expert-based brand. Because when you are a premium expert-based brand, you do not concern yourself with conversations that have nothing to do with your brand. Okay, you got to stay focused. You got to stay focused on who you are called to serve. You got to stay focused on who you are called to serve. Okay? And so intellectual capital, to bring it back home, Intellectual capital is about the ability to extract from your mind, from within your spirit, all of the knowledge, all of the experience, all of the expertise, all of the things that you know, how to extract all of that and figure out how to solve somebody else's problem with it. Does that make sense, y'all? Does that make sense? That is what you need to figure out how to do. And once you can figure that out, you'll be able to add value onto said intellectual capital. You can start creating wealth once you're able to extract all of that intellectual capital and turn that into something of value in the marketplace. And I find that the fastest path to that is consultancy, advisory work, and even more specifically, specialized consultancy work, niched consultancy work. Niched consultancy work based on your intellectual capital is the fastest path to wealth from my perspective. All right? Are there any questions before I go? Niched, I'm telling you. I'm telling you. Do y'all have any questions before I go? I don't want you all to think that this is difficult, because it's not. And that's why I'm here to help you. So if you are serious about scaling your expert-based business, if you are serious about launching your expert-based business, I am telling you that this is the fastest path to get you there. Okay? This is the fastest path to get you there. This is the fastest path to get you there. If you want help with that, send me a private message, all right? So we can talk about how I can help you position your intellectual capital so that it attracts premium clients, okay? You can go try to do it on your own, but here's the truth that y'all don't want to hear. Here's the truth that y'all don't want to hear. In fact, I'll talk about me so that y'all won't get offended. I spent years trying to figure it out on my own, okay? Thank you for the gifts. I appreciate it. Let me talk about me, okay? So that y'all don't get offended. I spent years. You know what I would do? I would watch live streams just like this. I would watch live streams from people who I knew exactly what they were talking about. I knew they knew what they were talking. They were experts, okay? And I knew it, but I didn't want to pay them. I didn't want to invest. I was being too stingy to invest because I felt like I could figure it out on my own. So I spent years and years and years and years and years. Somebody say years. I spent a long time leaving money on the table because I was trying to figure it out on my own. Instead of me accepting that those people that I was watching knew something that I didn't know. Listen, those of us who have figured it out, if we are integral, we want to collapse the time for you. I don't want you spending weeks and weeks and months and years trying to figure out something that I've already mastered. Okay? Because you're going to be losing thousands and tens of thousands of dollars every week, month, year that you spend trying to figure this out on your own. At some point, you have got to trust yourself enough to find the right person. If it's not me, then find whoever it is who have figured it out. And you need to get with that person and let them help you get there quicker. Okay? Because I'm telling you, AI is rapidly changing the game. AI is rapidly changing the game. You got to stay ahead of the AI curve. All right? And so I've now taken all the things that took me a decade to figure out. and I've packaged it into one system, okay, to help you get there quicker, to help you extract your intellectual capital quicker, to help you take your intellectual capital and architect a signature framework, a signature methodology that we can position in front of the right people who have the exact problem that your framework will solve, to call in those clients quicker for you, okay? So again, if you want to do that, if you're serious this year about not just monetizing your expertise, but if you're serious about joining the intellectual capital wealth transfer, send me a private message, okay? And you can apply to work with me. I told you, I don't work with everybody. Is $250K per year possible as a solo advisor? Absolutely. Absolutely. More than possible. More than. Let me ask you a question. I have a client who's just paid me $15,000 to work with me. Let's do the math. Let's take $15,000 as a price point. Let me find my calculator. You said $250,000 as a solopreneur. Is that possible? Let's go with $15,000. Let's just say that you were to create a $15,000 consulting offer. You ready for this? All you need is 16 clients a year. That's less than 2 clients a month. Hello? What I know about the construction industry, because I think you said the construction industry, right? Construction leaders, construction companies can easily pay you $15,000. You're not talking back to me. You're not talking back to me. Honestly, you could get that with one government contract, to be completely honest. Hey, EQ coach. So yes, it is very possible and plausible and almost easy for a solopreneur to make $250,000 a year. I think one of the things that happens, because this happened to me, y'all, and I was working in social services, so y'all know I wasn't making no money. Y'all know the kind of mindset shift that I had to make to go from making $35,000 a year as a social services professional into being a 6-figure earner in my own business. You know, I had to make a huge mindset shift, right? Like, it wasn't just mindset. I had to change my brain pathways, because in those early days of me being an entrepreneur, I could not see it. Some of y'all can't see it now. So you get it, right? You're at the SSA. So you get it. That's probably your biggest barrier. For me, the biggest barrier was shifting my mindset from an employee to a CEO. Somebody say a CEO. Like, identity shifting is probably the biggest barriers that I see from most of the people in my ecosystem. Because you are still likely thinking about life as an employee and not as a chief executive officer. So your decision making is completely different. Does that make sense? My decision making was so different because all I had was the framework of an employee. For me, my brain said, I exchange hours for a paycheck. Y'all talk back to me, please. My brain said, I go to work and I work 40 hours and I get a paycheck. See, that's what a lot of you are thinking. That's why you're having a hard time believing that you can make $250,000 as a business owner. because you're used to exchanging hours for a paycheck. Is this making sense? As a CEO, as a founder, okay, as a founder, what you're going to do is you're going to make money from the way that you solve expensive problems, okay? Your clients are not going to pay you based on how many hours you work with them. Your clients are going to pay you based on the value of the transformation that you are providing for them. Your clients are going to pay you based on the fact that you solved their problem for them. See, because I have put my whole framework into a program, it's called a founder's experience. The ECO framework, the ICCO framework, is inside of the C-Suite Founders Experience. That's my program. But because I put it all in one program, it doesn't take me that long to get my clients' results for them. But guess what? They're not paying me for how long it takes to get the result. They're paying me because I knew how to do something that they did not know how to do. They did not know how to build a consultancy business. They didn't know how to take their intellectual capital and monetize it, and I did. They paid me for that. So you're still thinking, oh, I got to work 40 hours a week. I got to work 12 months a year to make $250,000. That is why so many people have a hard time taking their intellectual capital and becoming wealthy off of it. It doesn't work that way, y'all. In the intellectual capital space, in the intellectual property space, in the consultancy space, we don't move like that. We don't move we're not on the clock. Somebody type in the chat for me. Consultancy work we're not on the clock. Advisory work, we're not clocking in. What we're doing is speaking to the folks who have the problem that we know how to solve for them. And there's only one question. Do you want to pay me to solve your problem for you? Does that make sense? That's how I make money as a consultant. I say to my target audience, so I'll use you for example, Artemis. Do you want to pay me to build your consultancy boutique in a way that you can position yourself to make $250,000 a year? And the answer is either going to be yes or no. Does it make sense? Hey, Dr. Frazier, does it make sense, y'all? Like, that's how I make six figures in my business. I'm not on the clock clocking in. I know how to take intellectual capital from experts. I know how to extract it. I know how to take their intellectual capital and build it into a signature framework and position it in front of their ideal client and show their ideal client that they know they have a proprietary way to solve their problem. I know how to help consultant experts build frameworks for six-figure businesses. I can't promise you that you're going to make $250,000. That would be a lie. What I can promise you is I know how to help you take your intellectual capital and create the type of offers that will pay you the six figures. Does that make sense? So the question would be, do you want to pay me to do that or not? The answer is either yes or no. So I need you to shift your mindset because you're still an employee. Your brain is going to fight you on that. Your brain is going to say, no, you got to work 12 months a year to become a six-figure earner. That's what your brain is going to fight you on. Why? Because that's the only evidence that your brain has. Does that make sense? So what I tell people is, especially those people that I'm working with, if you want to do this, you're going to have to start creating the evidence. That's what I had to do. You're going to have to give your brain some new evidence. So for me, that looked like, okay, let me go out here and create my first $5,000 offer. That was the first thing that I did to start showing my brain that I could make, my first 5 figures as a consultant. When I quit my job at social services, right? My first goal was I need to replace this paycheck. Y'all talk to me tonight. That was my first goal. Can I replace this $35,000 annual salary that I just walked away from when I quit my job at social services? I didn't have any evidence for that, y'all. I didn't have any evidence for that. So unlike a lot of people, unlike a lot of y'all, I was willing to hire a consultant to help me figure out how to do that. Is this helping anybody? So what I'm saying to you is, the longer you sit on it, the longer you try to argue with yourself, the longer you try to figure this out on your own, the longer you let fear cloud your decision making, the longer it's going to take you to believe that it's possible. See, this is what I said to myself back in 2015 when I hired my first high-end consultant. And y'all don't have to say this to yourself, but this is what I said to myself. Back then in those days, the consultant that I hired, their program was $5,000. Somebody type in the chat, $5,000. It was a $5,000 consulting program. And what I said to myself was, even if this person can't help me, I need to invest in this $5,000 program just to show myself that I am more valuable than the $5,000. Y'all don't want to talk to me. I had to prove to myself that I was more valuable than $5,000. For a lot of you, I'm going to get in trouble, but I got to tell you the truth. A lot of you, you don't believe you're worthy yet. And because you don't believe you're worthy yet, you're never going to invest in whoever can help you. Woo, child. Ouch. I know that stings. I know. So the only way that I could start working on my self-worth was I had to start investing. I'm talking about at a level that it was scary to me. Imagine you just quit your job making $35,000 and you want to become a consultant, but you don't know how. But you found somebody online that you believe can help you, and their price is $5,000, and you just quit your job. Once I understood that my mindset around my worth was a huge barrier for me, I had to give my brain pathways some new evidence. Telling y'all, neuroscience changed my life, and it changed my business, and it changed my bank account too, right? So some of you need to create some new pathways in your brain. So Artemis, you got to start creating some pathways in your brain so that your brain believes that it is possible for you to make $250,000 as a consultancy boutique. You got to start creating some evidence for that. So you got to do something that scares you. Somebody type in the chat, I got to start investing at a level that scares me. So I had to, and I'm not talking about investing in foolishness, y'all. Okay? I'm not talking about investing in these online gurus who got their program from ChatGPT. I'm talking about if you find somebody like me that is reputable and credible and an expert. It ain't got to be me, but find somebody that's reputable, who's credible, who is an expert, that can be vetted. When you find somebody like that, you're going to have to start investing in folks like that have been where you're trying to get to. See, I had to start investing in people, in specialists who had been where I was trying to get to, who had gone through that part of their entrepreneurship journey. They were already making way more money than I was making in their business. I would have to be willing to invest in those folks who had a proven, systematized framework that they used to help them grow their consulting company. Does that make sense, y'all? So you're going to have to shift that mindset from, oh my God, I'm going to have to work 12 months before I can make 6 figures, to wait a minute. No. In a consultancy boutique, what you have to understand is you are attracting premium clients who are not trying to pay you based on the hours that you work. They're paying you based on your ability to solve their problem for them in a proprietary way. In other words, it's showing them that you own the system that you're going to use to solve their problem. I own the ICCO method. I own that. I own the intellectual capital consulting offer framework. I own that. And I can use that to help my clients build out their own premium consulting boutiques. I own the C-suite founder experience. I own that. I own the lead like a CEO executive briefing workshop. I own that. Those are all of the intellectual properties that I own to help my clients build premium consultancy boutiques. Okay? I built software and tools and frameworks and methodologies to help my clients build out their own consultancy boutiques using their own intellectual capital so that they too can experience the wealth transfer. So you're going to have to do the exact same thing. Does that make sense? Does that make sense, y'all? Are there any more questions before I go? Because I'm going to go eat an early dinner tonight. Are there any more questions before I go? So again, if you want to work with me, there is an application process, okay? The application process is free, okay? Send me a private message and say, Dr. Vanessa, yes, I want to apply to at least have a conversation with you. Only if you're serious, okay? All right? There's an application process, so what you do is you apply, okay? And once you apply, I review your application, and if I think that we're a good fit, I will reach out to you, and I will give you my calendar, and you'll schedule a time to have a conversation with me about what it is you're trying to develop in your consultancy boutique, okay? And then we can decide together if we need to go forward and you actually hiring me to build it out for you. All right? All right, are there any more questions? If not, thank you all so much for being here on today. All right? I love you to life. I will see you guys tomorrow. Grace and peace and blessings, love and light. I'll talk to y'all later.